Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd show you an update on a couple things I've been working on. Two different current projects. One is this Kriel Combat CV, and I keep on getting more and more work done on the body on this. I still got quite a bit to go on. Been trying to get the thrusters placed in here in reasonable ways and build out the areas around them and kind of dial in some of these different parts of the ship. It's a very strange ship. Kind of liking it, but we'll see how it actually works in game. It's got a lot of turrets on it everywhere, and there'll be still be some more turrets going in place. Um, it's just my engineering things right now is trying to like embed in these thrusters and keep them safe, and that is just forcing me to build bigger and bigger parts of the ship. And I was trying to keep it kind of skinny, but that just doesn't work with the big thrusters I'm trying to put in here, which it's going to need to move the way I want it to move. Um, so that's kind of where it's at right now. Um, I have got to build out these whole back areas here yet, and try to get all this part done here, and then the bottom side of this ship. I'm intending on moving away some of these thrusters that are in the center area of the ship, like the down thrust right now I have here. I'm gonna try to get those out to these wing areas as well. I'm just not exactly sure how I'm gonna pull that off yet. I don't like where they're kind of right in the middle like that, although I could probably protect them pretty good there. Now, one aspect that I was having some difficulty with on this ship is with motion, and it has to do with roll. Now, the ship itself moves pretty decent as it sits currently. You can see I got pretty good turning. I've got decent speed, but what really sucks on it is the roll. The roll is very slow. Um, and I suspect it's because it's a wide ship. Um, Now, I did some experiments on the flight model, and I'm in Reforge Eden, and I believe it's different than it is in vanilla. But what I did, and I was kind of wondering, like, if I were to put like these, like this down thrust and the lift thrust, rather than being where they are, which is kind of closer to the center of the ship, at least, especially on the down thrust right now, and I put those to the outer wings, would it roll better? You know, that's a question, right? So here, I just want to show you this real quick, and then we'll go on to the next thing I wanted to show you today. So I'm gonna remove those two, and let me just turn on some symmetry real quick, so I don't have to do this twice. Okay, and then I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna like I wouldn't put a thruster here. I'm just doing this for flight model purposes. Say we put our down thrust way on the outer edges of the ship. Now, you know, theoretically, what would you think? Would you think this is going to behave different than what I just showed you? Oh, where's the cockpit? There's the cockpit. All right, and so now we're rolling, and not really, not really. Doesn't really change it too much at all. About the same speed as it was. Um, So then I did another experiment. I'm just showing you the results here. And I guess this is just the way it is, and I'm not too worried about it, but um, I keep on running into problems where I can't get one of the thrusters to, you know, where I can't get ships to roll the way I would like them to roll. So now we've got our down and up thrust on the outer edges of the ship. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to remove these two. And I think that's it for down and up thrust. Far side edges. Now you would think in reality with normal like physics that if you had your thrusters way the heck out here and like this one was and you wanted to roll, say roll to the left, that this one would or this one would be going like full force, and the other side on the bottom side would be going down, and this thing would roll really good. Um, But in reality, here, let me get that out of there. It's not doing anything. It's really whether I had the thrusters in the center of the ship or on the outer sides, it's not really making any difference at all. Um, and that kind of sucks because it doesn't seem to matter where I put the thrusters on this. But you know, how is it going to fly in vanilla versus this? I suspect differently. So here, let me get rid of that green line here too. Other than that, I mean, it's maneuverable. It turns good. It flies. You know, it flies good. It's just I wanted this to have some roll to it, and I don't know how to get roll on ships if they're wide. Basically, what it comes down to. For some reason, wide body ships don't roll. And like on the trebuchet, how does now the trebuchet is a fairly narrow ship. Don't mind the decor on this particular trebuchet. It was scarified. And I guess the roll isn't actually very good on this ship either. So yeah, I don't know. The roll escapes me a little bit. This one didn't actually have very good up and down either. The heavier they are, they just don't turn as good, obviously, which kind of makes a lot of sense, I would suppose. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on this. So I was doing some thruster experimentations, trying to see if it would make a difference, if it would be worthwhile to build out the ship and try to get these on the far edges or something, and if it was going to make a significant difference in how it flew. And unfortunately, no, it's not. It's not really, it doesn't seem to care where I put these, which I'm not going to complain about because that allows me to not add in some stupid looking thing way on the side here that I didn't want to do in the first place. But then again, I'm not exactly sure how to get roll on one of these things. RCS would be another option. I just hate using RCS. I mean, any RCS. And you notice that most creations I build, very little have RCS any longer. It's just because RCS uses CPU, and like how much CPU does this actually use? 40,000 CPU for one of these, which is like the equivalent of adding like 2 or 3 turrets or something on your ship. So with RCS, let's say I just bit the bullet and put in a couple RCS over here. I don't know if it matters if I put them way back in the ship or something. Different on both sides, aren't they? Well, I'll just put in a couple here. Does that make any difference? No, not really. That was just 80,000 CPU for nothing. So yeah, I guess you just don't have ships that roll, or wide body ships, or I don't know what the deal is with that. It's not important though. Usually I don't like a lot of roll on ships, but when you have a space combat ship, I'm thinking, you know, the more maneuverability, the better. Having some roll would be kind of neat. It looks like the ship would roll pretty good, but it doesn't. So that's one thing. So moving on to the next thing I wanted to show you is this is brand new and just kind of working out the body of a high gravity dropship module. So I put in like all the thrusters and turrets and things that I was thinking that this was going to have. Right now, I'm running 4XL lift thrusters on it, and it is hardened steel hull. I'm hoping that's enough for the high gravity planets. It's quite a lot of lift thrust, and it's not. I mean, it's not a tiny ship by any stretch, but it's not massive either. So. A lot of lift power. It's got 2XL forward thrust. It's got 2 large back thrust and 2 large side thrust, and then kind of these 8 smaller down thrusters. Now maybe I'll modify this and get rid of those and try to put in some bigger ones, but I didn't really feel the need to add in more large thrusters for down, which is the least important direction. Strafing is not terribly important either, but as of how this thing flies unloaded, so it probably flies a little bit too, I don't know, it's quite maneuverable. It's got a lot of lift thrust, and it docks up to the Helios pretty good. Now this one does roll like a son of a gun. As you can see, it does quite well. So I gotta assume that just the sheer amount of thrusters that are on here, on why it rolls, and maybe it's not terribly wide. I don't know. Escapes me a little bit, so I don't exactly quite understand the physics here on why this one would roll so much, and the ship that looks like it would roll excessively, especially where the current thrusters are, doesn't hardly roll at all. And I can't tweak that or adjust that in any settings that I know of. RCS seem to be worthless for their price, so I don't really have any options with that. Now, one experimental thing I'm doing on this also is I put in a radar. Now, supposedly, these guys actually do something to increase your scanning range by quite a bit. And that would be cool because they do cost some CPU now, too. So I wanted to see how that worked out, because something like this would be wonderful having radar on it, because it's designed to go down to planets, and I'd assume you'd bring some miners or tanks or whatever to tackle POIs or mine like some really good resources, and then return to this thing, and then load up your vehicles again, fly back up and dock to the back of the Helios, and call it a day. And that is exactly what I wanted this for. It should have quite a bit of docking room inside it. It's kind of like basically just taking a hangar of a normal, well, even big-sized CV, or well, medium-sized CV, I would say, and just basically like cutting that out of the ship, and here's just the flying hangar. My intent with storage on here is to get in 6 to 8 320K cargo systems, and quite a few production systems, like advanced constructors and things like that, basically, so you can process a lot of goods when you're down on the planet, and hopefully you have to take off that planet even with high gravity. Now, I know some planets can exceed 4G in gravity. I think some even can exceed 5. It's hard to exactly figure out where this will fit in without testing that, and after I get cargo systems in here, dock some HVs or SVs or whatever to it and fill that cargo system up, and I'll have to run around to planet and see what it can actually lift off with. I'm also trying to make this very non-explodey. Don't mind any of this stuff right now, but all the thrusters have been sealed off behind blocks, and that's kind of where it sits right now. It's just trying to mitigate explosion damage in case any of the thrusters get blown out. Again, not a combat ship. It will have a shield, but I do not, and I don't plan on putting a warp in it, because it's a module. It's supposed to warp with the Helios, and then you would just take it down to the planet from there. But I don't know if you guys, find issue with that, and maybe, I mean, I could put in a warp drive. It's just going to take up more space, and I'm trying to keep as much space open as I can on what's left. Even on this too, to maximize interior space, I put all these thrusters right to the outer edges, and I don't have any block rows available to put blocks over the outer edges of these things. So it's part of the hull that way, but I sealed it off on the inside, and it was a way to maximize interior space. But it kind of sucks because I can't detail any of that stuff, and I just gotta kind of leave these the way they are. I can't even put like a little skinny, little thin block over the top of these, because then it'll cause docking issues. So I can't mess with that. I think I got a decent amount of turrets on here for what it is. Again, landing on a planet, the turrets and everything are just meant to fend off drone attacks, or things like that. So it's not meant for any major combat. I'm thinking there's enough turrets to shoot down the drones, and I wanted to keep the turrets on here all atmosphere fireable. So, when you're down on the planet, these will probably be like miniguns or cannon turrets. Now, this it seems like the majority of people like the miniguns over the cannon turrets. So maybe I'll kind of go that route, and also on that little player base, I plan on releasing sometime pretty soon. I had cannon turrets on it now, and it was said that they don't hit drones with the crap, and the miniguns do better. They're the same price CPU, and and stuff. So I would just go with the better of the two options. So I'd probably swap that out to miniguns, and a lot of these would be put to miniguns. I don't know if there's a reason to have cannons and miniguns. The cannons, I believe, have longer range, and that was kind of my thing with drones. That the cannon turrets might be able to take incoming drones out further out before they get close to you. Is the reason why I was trying to use a lot of cannon turrets, but maybe that's not really the case. A little bit up in the air there. But yeah, I'll keep on working on this as well. So it's basically, yeah, these two projects over here. This one's kind of big. I'm really excited for this one because I'm more into designing crazy than a block. But the block is fun engineering practice for sure. Try to make the block or the rectangle look as neat as I can with doing whatever I can with the limited area I can work with there. So after it's painted up and stuff, I think it should look fine. And okay, so next thing, it was asked about a MCRN color palette for the human creations like the Helios, Trebuchet, stuff like that. I have screwed with this. I probably spent an hour the other day trying to see if there's any possible way I could make that happen. And honestly, there isn't without repainting the ships. It does not translate well at all to the humans. And the reason for that, there's a few reasons for that. Now, if you look at the Tashi, and I brought this up as a base example of MCRN because this one was actually built following pictures that I found, online of the MCRN Tashi and, various things on the internet and watching the show and whatnot. And if you look at the color ratio on this, you notice that a lot of it's kind of pretty close to black. This isn't black, it's actually some form of gray, but it's about 2/3 or more of the ship is actually black. And then you've got an accent color of this orange, which is quite, there's quite a lot of orange on it too. So, and then you have a third accent color, which is this silver, which is only in a couple select spots on the ship. And then there's another shade of gray as well that's used in other spots on the ship, kind of like little trim lines and stuff. Like you can see the gray over here next to the black. Basically, what I'm saying, when you take a human ship, like let's bring in something here. How about bring in Helios? How about the RE here? The color ratio on these ships is way different. They don't have like a big accent color like what these do. The humans, I am putting in an accent color, but it's very little, and that's this red. It's just in a couple dabs here and there, just to give it that little bit of a look. And I've been doing that on all the newer human creations, just that touch of red. Like I added a little bit over there. So if I just try to like replace colors here, like say we hop over to the Tashi, and here, let's get rid of that. Let's take its base orange color, and I will copy that. Now, obviously, if I go 1-to-1, I can replace the red over here with the orange, and there's no harm done, really. So we're using this shade. We'll paste that with the orange shade. It's not terribly different looking. And then another thing, though, is the humans use some different whites and gray blend mixes that the MCRN don't. For instance, and you almost have to invert the colors on the human creation. So let me grab the black that's on the Tashi here, and let's try to plug that into actually where the light colors are on the Helios. Here it is. So let's see, we'll take our base white and our one-off whites here and here. We'll replace those. So now the ship is dark, but it's still not even close to the right color setup. So let's see what else. Let's here I'm gonna modify this a little bit more. Let's take like the other shade here. And God, what else would I even replace? That's the problem with this. Yeah, let's copy that again. See, I've got all these different shades on the humans, and you can see it kind of, it's looking a little more MCRN-ish at this point. But the color ratios and blends are way different. So you look at it and you compare that to the Tachi, and it's not the same. And it really destroys the interior on these things too, because, well, not really, I guess. It's just darker. But it doesn't look MCRN. And that's the whole point. It does not look MCRN. It just looks like it's, oh, there goes the one ship. Just looks like it's got some orange on it. Like these parts here, I think look all right. You know, I think that looks decent. This looks all right, but yeah, I don't know. It's basically, I'm saying there's no way I could be happy with the changes of the color. And that's the big problem here. Here, I'm going to replace this last one here too with this other dark tone. That I think might help a little bit more. And yeah, I can't take any of these main colors though and replace them with orange. Like let's take that. Take God, what's tone? This here. Kind of see what that does. It's the same colors more or less now, but I don't know. I guess that's not so horribly bad, but it's not right either. It's not even close to right. I would want to repaint a lot of this stuff. I think these beams here should be probably more silver. I don't really want the orange on the flight deck here like that. It sticks out a little too much. I think that should be more of a silver. But yeah, well, honestly, this is my best attempt at it yet. But again, comparatively speaking, I wouldn't be happy with it because it's not right. It's not the right mix ratio, and to me, it doesn't really look too much like the Tachi color scheme at all. Yeah, it's even though it's the same colors, it's just different ratios and stuff like that. And you know, I would have to go through and really tweak these things out and kind of like hand paint them before I'd be happy with it. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I mean, you guys can mess with it too. It's just replacing colors with other colors, and it's pretty easy to do. And why I have this trebuchet all scarified over here is I was doing the same thing with between scar and human, which does actually translate quite a bit better than going from MCRN to human. The scar palette kind of fits similar, but I did have to make a color modification and then do a mass replace on the base textures to go to that grungy metal. You can kind of see what it did to the trebuchet after running those processes, which was pretty quick. But you know, another big factor too is the interior lighting on the trebuchet is, I mean, even though I'm running the grungy metal, it doesn't look anything like the scar inside of here. It's just a grungier metal. Like if you would take a look at, where did I put that? Yeah, I put a Raider out here just for comparisons. I mean, the actual scar decor on the inside would look a lot more like this. And it's different color lightings, different blends of how it's textured and things like that, different texture lights. There's a lot of differences, so it's not like it doesn't exactly work right. And MCRN, I also use different color lighting and stuff like that on the ships too. Like if you look inside the Tachi versus the human creations, you'll see that things look a lot different in here. A lot more orange lighting and gray lighting, and I don't think I used any of the kind of blue purplish lighting that I used on the humans. and the different mixes of colors on the interior, trying to follow that color scheme. And throughout the hanger here, I probably put too much orange in on the hanger when I made this. It was probably supposed to be more grays and darks, but I like the look of it. But you can see how this is quite a bit different, and there's no way that just doing a color scheme alone I could make a legitimate MCRN look from a human creation. It would just look really kind of like it does. I mean, it's not right. It doesn't really fit entirely. It's not horrible, but it's just different. It's different. I wonder what this main hallway looks like now. It's not that horribly bad though. You know, this door color should be a different color. I would definitely say. I don't even have that color in the mix right now. Yeah, and there's that silver accent too, which I wouldn't be able to get in there. Like what was done here on the Tachi and the MCRN Leviathan and other ships like that. They get that silver in there, and basically what I'm saying is I can't just cheap out and just put out another palette and expect it to work right on this. I'd really probably have to spend many hours per creation and just tweak and paint things and then release a different version of the ship to look MCRN, which I really don't want to do. Now, I'm not done with the MCRN, and they will get more stuff in the future too, but yeah, just doing a cheap like conversion like this. I mean, some people might like it, and if anybody actually wants this color palette, let me know, and I can capture it and I can paste it up on the YouTube video. But I don't think it's right. I don't think it's doing it justice. It's just the same colors, but they're not in the same layout, format, or accent colors, or lighting colors, or other little subtle details that you'd find different on MCRN. All right, well, anyway, that's about all I got for today. I just wanted to touch on the color thing because I kind of put it aside for like a good week or longer, and I wanted to hit on that as into what the deal is with that on the delay. And this is, like I said, about the closest I can get with just switching colors in the palette and not actually physically repainting anything on the ship. And it's not horrible. It's just it's not right either. So it's just kind of in the mix there. And we're looking forward to this again, and we'll see where this goes. Looks like it just ran out of juice again. I'll despawn this one anyway. But so I'm not going to waste time to try to put thrusters out on the far edges like this because it honestly didn't do anything. So maybe they'll actually return to here, but I'll still kind of mess with getting some down thrust if I can find spots in these outer like wing areas, just to keep it away from the center of the ship. But I don't know if that's necessarily needed because I don't plan on putting much interior space in the ship, so I don't really, in this case, mind two giant thrusters coming right through the middle of the hull. Now, if I was planning a hangar out or something in here, there's no way I could have that. But I wasn't really planning a hangar. If anything, maybe some kind of like little bay or something that you can access from something, maybe park something in here. I don't know yet. It's a warship. It's not a do everything kind of ship. So didn't really want to go with that too far. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. If you got any questions, let me know. I tried to cover a lot of the different things that came up in comments. And there was one last thing that came up on some comments too, and this new module is going to have the same effect. Is with the Plutus M2 that I built, it goes down a little bit further in the bay module. So if you're trying to land the Helios on the ground, the module will cause the Helios not to land properly, kind of like offset it, because the landing gear of this would actually go down. No, this actually doesn't have landing gear, but it kind of offsets it a little bit. The dropship module also will do the same thing because it's a little bit taller. Um, I guess my reasoning and thinking behind all that is that the if you got this dropship module, I highly doubt you would be landing this ship on the ground in the first place. Otherwise, why would you have the dropship module? You won't need it. You just land on the ground and unload that way. So the fact that it's a little bit taller and bigger when it fits in this bay, I don't think should affect anything, really. And I guess I wasn't totally expecting the ship to land on the ground. At first, I was thinking, yeah, it could be a neat idea, but vanilla comes with 4 XL thrusters on this ship to start with for lift. But if I was playing vanilla myself, I think I would actually remove 2 of those 4 and add the 10th XL thruster on the back. The vanilla version comes with 8 XL thrusters in these bays. I think I'll bring it up to the max 10 and not worry about the lift thrust, and probably remove the couple lift thrusters that the vanilla version actually has in these locations here. But excuse me. Anyway, that's all I got for today, and let me know if you got any questions, and I will see you later.